Welcome to Tunnel Vision. I'm Adam Connor-Bourne. I'm joined today by Shane Smeltz and all the way from Seattle, David Scarcella. 2026 FIFA World Cup Round 2, Australia versus USA in Seattle. Both teams come off a winning start. The USA opened their campaign with an impressive 4-1 win over Paraguay, while the other game in Group D saw a defensive masterclass from the Socceroos, who beat Turkey 2-0.
Gosh, lead us away, mate. Lead us away. Give us your thoughts from the US.
Yeah, listen, I think coming out of the Turkey game, to be honest, the Aussies took over Vancouver, but I think it's going to be a different proposition here from pre-game, from a fan's perspective, right through to the warm-up, right through to the mid-game. In saying that, I think there's an opportunity here for Popovic to change it up and listen to an interview that Chitkardi had midweek, and I picked something up during the interview that made me think maybe he's going to change it up. And by change it up, I think he might see this as an opportunity to get at the US a little bit more, because there's a definite plan to sit off, go on the counter against the Turks, and you can see why, because they were exceptional in and behind, opening up the space if when you did give them room. I think Hopper might see the US as a different proposition, a team that we can potentially hurt. I don't think the US are as good as Turkey, irrespective of what they did in their first game. And I think that opens an opportunity for us to sort of change the way we go about this game.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think that's the interesting aspect to this matchup, Ads, is that if there is change, is it change in personnel or is it change in tactics? Because I think that's the big one. He can go either way. I personally don't think he'll change too much tactically. I think looking at the Socceroos and how they defended last game against Turkey, they enjoy to defend. And I don't think they enjoy to defend higher up the pitch. I think the players they've got don't want to get hurt in behind. I think US have some pace and power in that aspect. So they're comfortable to defend the box. It just depends on, for me, it's almost down to personnel. Do you start with Nesta? Do you bring him on as an impact off the bench? Those are like the decisions I think he has to make. But I tend to feel that he's going to stick with the same tactics in terms of defending, pick our moments. I mean, these games now, as we've said before, I'm not the biggest fan of these drinks breaks, but the game's broken up into quarters, and I think you can almost utilize that a little bit to your favor.
I think huge opportunity here, because you could argue that 3 points almost gets you through with a 2-0 first game. 3 points almost gets you through to the round of 32. Does he go for it and secure that first spot, which I think if they do beat the USA tomorrow, we're looking at a round of 32, finishing top in LA against the third place finisher. There's an incentive there to go at it and try to get something out of the game. There's been some talks in and around the street. I've bumped into a heap of Aussies today that, he's going to he's going to bring Matt Ryan in for Beach. He's going to sort of rest players. I don't think so. I think there's a real opportunity, like we said here, to get out the US, get something out of the game, and bang, we're secured as either a top finisher or a second finisher, and then we go into the round of 32. So I think I'd like to see him change it up. I'd like to see him get at the USA, because when we did get on the ball against Turkey, then we did show our quality. But I think just the way we set up didn't allow us to express ourselves in the way that I think we are probably capable of. So it'll be good to see him give a little bit of free license and let the boys get at it.
I think when you look at the last match from the US, one thing that we don't know yet, I mean, I didn't see Paraguay really test their defense. Looking at their defense, I mean, they got captain Tim Ream, who's 38 years of age. I think guys like Torre, Nesta, they can really hurt this guy if you can get him behind him, get facing him, run at him. But yeah, I didn't see Paraguay test them enough. So that's the aspect I'm really looking forward to seeing the Socceroos, as Dave said, take it to them. I think they've got the ability to do that, but I just feel like, knowing Popovic and obviously what's at stake here, I think he's going to have to pick his moments, and when you do it, you can't come out guns blazing. But I think there's going to be periods and moments in this match where the Socceroos will certainly take the match to the US.
Australia beat Turkey 2-0 despite facing 30 shots. Do you think that will enforce a tactical change for Popovic, or do you think it's more the approach to just the US in general?
I think that leads into what I said initially. So there were so many shots against Turkey, right? But that was because how deep Australia were. The Socceroos love to defend in and around the box. They were so comfortable. You got the two sixes in front. You got like a back five, and they're not coming out of those spaces. So many balls were blocked, and there was plenty of shots, but nothing really hurt and beaching goal. One or two occasions, and if those went in, maybe it's a different game. But that's the aspect I think Australia's comfortable at. So when we talk about going and taking the game to the US, the fear will be, does the game get stretched a little bit? And what does that cause problems in terms of the US being able to get in behind?
As a former goalkeeper yourself, Dave, do you think that it would be the right call to keep Beeching, or do you think it's worth taking him out of the team against the US for a more experienced set of hands?
I just think, who knows with this, like who would have ever thought he would have played Beach in the first game, massive game. He'd played 2 sort of friendlies for Australia in the past. He'd played no proper serious competitive games, and he throws him in the first game of the World Cup. So who knows? He could well and truly swap it up and put Matt Ryan in. I don't think that'd be the right decision. I think the right decision is to let the kid now develop and further grow in this tournament. Let him play. I think the definite wrong decision would be to bring Matt Ryan in. I don't think anyone needs that type of confusion at the minute.
I don't think there's any question mark around the situation. Of course, Matty Ryan's been a superb goalkeeper throughout the years, and he's been informed this season as well. But if you look at the decision, he's already made the hard decision. Now, the easy decision for me is to keep him in goals. If there was any question marks about his performance, yes, I could see Matty Ryan coming in to replace him, but he was almost man of the match, and he's got praise from so many people, players, ex-players. So I can't see. He would get crucified if he made a change and it didn't work, put it that way.
Moving on to the US, it's looking unlikely that Pulisic is going to play. At least that's what we're hearing from the reports coming out. Do you think that hinders the USA in every way, or do you think that's something that they can overcome just by their attacking output in other areas?
Listen, he's exceptional, right? He's an exceptional talent. I think when you look at the US, and I agree with Schmelzy, they weren't really tested in that first game against Paraguay. I don't think we've also seen the last of Paraguay. They're a team that came into the World Cup beating the likes of Brazil. So I still think, they maybe just had one of those off days. But I think what their off days was because Pulisic was absolutely sensational in that first half. I actually made the comment in the first half of the US Paraguay game, hey, I'd love him to get injured in the next 10 minutes or in the second half, and so he misses the next game. I think that's a massive thing. I think you take him out of that USA lineup. Not that they haven't got talent elsewhere, but he's exceptional. And I think him out of the US for us tomorrow would be a massive advantage.
Yeah, Ads, I tend to agree. I think looking at Pulisic, he will be a big miss for them. He was big for them in the first game. He's come off a season, 10 goals for Milan. He's a quality player. We know about his attributes and what he brings to the table. So they will miss him. But looking at who might replace him, I think Reina came in late of the game, scored a fantastic goal with the outside of the foot. That'll give him some confidence. He might be a suitable replacement.
Schmelzy, I didn't really fancy him, coming on. I thought he was off the pace. I thought a couple of his first touches were astray. He missed a couple of, tried to do a little bit with the ball and sort of missed
potentially.
That pass. He came in and scored a good goal, but up until then, I was almost disappointed.
Yeah, and where's his best position? I'm not sure, but they've got another boy, obviously Ricardo Pepi, 19 goals for PSV. So they've got depth. I don't think they're going to be too concerned. No one wants to lose their key players, but they've got some players to replace them that have done the business in Europe as well. So yeah, I think they'll be okay.
A big loss for the USA, Pulisic, would be if he doesn't play. I mean, he is the LeBron James of soccer at the end of the day. Finally, on the US, they haven't kept a clean sheet in their last 9 matches. Do you think that's a potential opportunity for the Socceroos to exploit in this next game?
Jordy Boss bombing up and down the left, Nesta and one or two others that are quick. And I think they can get at this US defense, to be honest. That's the thing that Paraguay didn't take to them. So That's the question mark for me. Can they get at them? And if the US come out and want to press and play football in the Socceroos half, then they're going to leave that spacing behind that'll be vulnerable for the likes of Nesta, Toure to exploit. That's what they want. They don't want the US to sit on their 18-yard box and defend like the Socceroos do. So the tactics and the game plan could actually play into Socceroos' hand.
This US lot so arrogant in what they think they're going to get out of the game. I was in the just having a walk around the park in Seattle today, and I'm having a chat with some Yank, and he's telling me that Australia are no good. Who are we? It's going to be an easy 3 points. So I mean, these guys are as cocky as all hell, right? And that's what we love about them. But again, we're going to do the business. We're going to rock up, and the boys are going to get in behind, and we're going to score a couple and absolutely rattle them like we did the Turks. So I think it's going to be action-packed tomorrow.
I think with that, because there is a little bit of spice behind this and there's been a lot of media hype and all the rest of it, I think the players actually need to be a little bit careful as well because, I'm listening to it. I don't play for the Socceroos, but I'm listening to it and it gets my blood boiling, right? So you'd want to go out there and lay one on someone in the first 5 minutes. So you do need to be careful. You're at the World Cup. You don't want to do anything stupid. But it's amazing how much hype can come from media sources and actually filter back to the players because there is a little bit of bad blood here. You can sense it. But I would almost think nothing's really come from the US camp in terms of the players. It's more, there would have been more talk, obviously, when the Turkish captain comes out and talks and says his piece, that got the Socceroos going. I think it's probably the worst thing you can do to wind a team up. And it normally comes back to bite you.
A third-place team with 4 more points is essentially guaranteed to make the round of 32. The Opta supercomputer is giving Australia an 84% chance of progressing into that round. Looking at the group as a whole, are you assuming that Australia gets through to the next round, or do you think that a loss against the US could put that in jeopardy?
I think the reality of how the World Cup's set up this time round, and with the best 8 out of 12 third place getting through, the fact that we won 2-0 first game, if we don't concede massive, I think there's a couple of teams that get through on 3 points, to be honest. So, yeah, definitely a point from either the US or Paraguay gets us through as that third place. So, yeah, I would agree that 84%. The only thing that would hamper our ability to do anything beyond what we've just said is if Turkey and Paraguay come out of the blocks and get results in their next couple of games, and we get hammered by US and one other. I think we need to be cautious. We want to be confident, but we want to be cautious at the same time because we're still up against US, which lots of quality. Like I said, Paraguay, I think we saw them on an off day. Probably the occasion got the better of them, but they're a quality side, and I think we will still struggle against a team like that if we're not on our day. So it's not done yet. Good opportunity. If I was to say go at it against the US or go at it against Paraguay, I'd say use this opportunity, go at it, try and get the 3 points, and let's get to the round of 32 as a first place finisher.
I think nothing's for certain, ads in this game. So you can't. I know you've given me a nice number there in 84% progress rate, but I wouldn't be looking into that. I certainly don't think Popovic should be looking at that. Given the good start, I think you have to aim to go and win the group. In my opinion, you have to go and aim to win the group because if you fall short, you finish second and you qualify. And worst case, you might qualify as a third place. It would be a shame from here, from such a good start, to then go into the next game, lose it completely, cop a few goals, and that sort of those numbers that you mentioned before will come right down. And then you're going into the last game against Paraguay, and as Dave said, they could turn up on that day and put in a good performance. I think you're going to have a lot of games on the last game of the round where it's gonna have a big effect. You're going to see teams come or go, make it or not, and drop off from that last result. I don't think you'll have too many teams or too many groups completely sorted after the 2 games. So the last round's massive.
As we move on into the kind of wider World Cup, we have now seen every team play. Who would you say has impressed you the most over the last 7 days of the 2026 World Cup?
I thought England were phenomenal. I thought how they sort of developed into the game, they were excellent. So I see them as a as one of the favourites. I've also liked, France. I think came good towards the end. But in saying that, they'd be still my two favourites. But I think it's still a wide open World Cup. Norway looked really good. Obviously, with Haaland, is just another level. And just to have that, and then you've got Messi scoring 3 goals. Argentina's going to be in and around the mix. So, listen, the quality of this World Cup, and I know some of these African nations or these lower CONCACAF nations that have got in, there's been some blowouts, but as a whole, the quality's been very, very good. So I think that there's no massive standouts. It's going to go down to the wire for this World Cup.
It's wide open, this World Cup so far. Of course, we've only had basically finished the one round at the moment. But as Dave said, some of your big teams, if they can get momentum early in this tournament, and a couple of them have, I think, as I said, England look good. They're a little bit flat first half, but they come good. I think they look really balanced and structured, and Harry Kane's got a couple of goals already. So if you get your key players playing well and scoring goals, and how many teams have we seen get off the mark with that? Haaland for Norway, Mbappe, Messi. So key players are up and running. But for me, watching France play, you can't underestimate the first up task that they had of beating Senegal, probably the toughest match in their group. Senegal are powerhouses in Africa. They're strong. And they caused them a few problems, but France had too much for them. And if you look at their front four, Mbappe, Elise, Doué, Dembele, like you name a better four than that in this World Cup. Mbappe's got 2 goals already. That's like 14 World Cup goals for him, 5 in his last 2 matches. He scored, don't forget, he's coming off the back of a final in 2022 where he scored a hat-trick and didn't win it, and he's got 2 already. So
just final note from me, what's your expectation for the game tomorrow?
My expectation is that at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, I'm going to be around the stadium having beers and burritos. That's what I'll be doing, and I'll be bringing it all live to you, Adam, so you can share it on. So yeah, that's the plan: beers and burritos at 8 a.m. And then I think we do the US 2-1. That's my prediction.
I'm saying fiery contest. I'm saying few tackles flying in early in the first 5 minutes, some cards potentially, an open contest. I'm going to go with a draw. I think a draw. I think both teams score. Let's go with a 1-1 draw in this one for me.
We'll take that.
From down in Adelaide, it feels to me it's going to be KG, I agree, but I think Australia will just nick it, and Nesta, one of his classic runaways, gets it on the break. Thank you very much both for your time. This has been Tunnel Vision. I'm Adam Connor-Bourne. Shane Smeltz, David Scarsella. Thank you.
Thanks, boys.
Lock in, guys. Tunnel Vision. See you soon.
Lock in.
Lock in. Cheers.